Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 43 of my Industrial Revolution 3 playthrough. In this episode, we are going to expand various parts of our factory's production, such as power and trees. Enjoy. The accumulator charge is getting very low. Like it's fine, but it looks like it's about to run out, which isn't good. To fix this, we just need another nuclear plant. Looks like it's just barely holding on. But let's build another one. And let's see if we can copy most of this correctly. It would essentially be all of this, if I got it right. So we can put it on approximately there. We definitely need to have more landfill in here. And time for another very fun excavation, which I believe would be about that. So let's let it all get delivered here. Let's make sure this power switch is set off so it doesn't just immediately turn on. To avoid overloading the accumulators, we probably want to have different settings here. Where this one turns on at 25, perhaps this one will do 20 instead. Reinforced Nixie tube is in the way, but it's lined up correctly. I think that's just a interesting bug, and unfortunately, this thing fired up on us already because that got switched to on. But anyway, let's set that to 20 so they're not quite lined up. And the math is a little wrong on this. It's at 200%, but we don't want that. We just set this to 2 because now we have 2 groups, and now the number is correct. Put the pumps at least on that side. And now I think we're ready for some excavation. I guess that's not necessarily what it is because we're digging a moat, or a canal in this case, but it's pretty satisfying. So this should now shut off and not swing again. There we go. It's going to take a while to place all of this. It is working hard at it. All the accumulators have been placed. So that does mean that we can force this on. And I suppose we can do that with a constant combinator on the end here. We'll hook it up to the green wire. And in this case, we'll just take A and say -100. Which will force all of these to essentially always be on. So we can crank up the all of the accumulators to 100% because right now they're not quite synchronized. Meanwhile, we did finish our research on the power armor, which requires a little bit of random stuff. So let's just grab that. It looks like the carbon dioxide is maxing out, which means it's probably being vented now. And it is, although it's not venting as fast as we're making it. There we go, making that. Let's see, we already have the 24 here, which means we probably want another 48 of them. Gotta replace that radar, but we're gonna have to go down there to flip the power switch anyway. And accumulators are charged. So we can shut that off, let everything cool down. And since these are mostly placed, we can enable those. Now we need to figure out how we're going to expand the trees. Probably just take all of these and expand them upwards. Let's turn on the grid, find out where we want to put this. I believe it would be like this. Well, we could put productivities into our landfill setup as well. Let's throw the advanced mixer in here with productivities, see if it takes them. It does. Well, that's going to consume a lot of power and save a lot of stone. That's so much water right here. But water gets in the way of our precious trees. Let's try to get these all set up so every chunk will be covered, and that's the end of the research for now. Kind of want to wait a little bit so we can let everything balance out and then we can test it again. We don't have any heavy oil, and that's because crude oil ran out. We are trying to fill up our train, but there just isn't enough crude oil there. I mean, they are pretty low. 8.5, 15.7. But it does look like it's time to expand up here. Inventory is full. Of course, we have our better power armor, so we should probably put that on carefully so it doesn't like destroy our inventory. It's not a lot, but we do get one more row here. And for now, we can build this out the same way we had it before. There we go. Let's add those in there. One more list of crude oil right there. And we'll change this to crude oil load 2. Just need to set this to do a loop. Well, let's see if this train will make the route. So we have crude oil load, then crude oil load 2, full cargo. But we really don't want full cargo on this one. Let's do a or and just say 10 seconds, because that's about as much as it's going to take to fill that train up. And now, looking at the path that it's taking, it is quite long, but it is going to get here. I need to pick up that storage tank in the junk chest, so that's why I didn't build that last one. There we go. It's hooked up. That's fine. Go to unload. Let's make sure that it doesn't take a stupid path. Doesn't seem to. We should see our oil start to fix itself here. And it looks like it basically is. Let's grab that storage tank. We are running pretty low on gold. It's going to run out quite quickly. So we're going to have to think about expanding. I'm thinking we're going to go up because there's that big crude oil field there and also this fossil gas. But there's some gold tucked away there. The only other gold that we found is down here. Now it's close to the wall, but unfortunately there's just not much out here. Some oil way down there. Some sour gas. I don't know if we want to put a wall all the way down there. There's that coal, but we're just getting started on our new coal patch. We're at 98%, so I don't know if I want to go out there. I feel like doing this would potentially gather us some pretty good stuff. So at some point we're going to have to go out there, but I'm not too worried about gold right now. Mainly because it's a huge buffer. This is going to empty, the train station's going to empty, but then this train station has to empty, and then we're going to actually have to run out of the gold bars. And now that we've put a bunch of productivity modules in and almost have everything upgraded, it should go a lot longer than it has. All the pipes are connected. We've got a nice fast blue belt in the middle because we're going to make a lot of wood here, which means now that we don't really need any of our little parks here. So it's time to cut them down. So first let's clear this out so we can actually see what's in here. And it kind of feels bad to do this, but it served its purpose. We just don't need it anymore. It's kind of funny how they're all evenly placed because, oh, there's the army. That's how it grows them. Get rid of a whole ton of trees. We do need to make this rubber. This is the first time we've done it this way. It's just made in a chemical plant and requires nickel and steam. Because of that, it might make sense just to make the rubber down here and send it up via robot. In fact, that might be the best thing because there's just this huge belt here that seems kind of unnecessary. So we might actually be able to wait a little while because there's so much rubber on this belt before we need to start making more. Because that's just so much. Okay then, it's time to do some research and see what happens. Let's see here. What would be useful? Of course, the rocket silo is kind of staring at us, but there's not much left. As you see by the green there, we've almost finished up everything. Well, we are running out of gold. Doing mining productivity will be nice. So let's do that. First, we can do the advanced mining drill, which is an expensive chrome building and also requires those diamond cutters. And we'll take a look at its size and efficiency in a little bit. But for now, we'll start that research and then lots of increased productivities, which is all quite good. So here we go. We should see carbon dioxide start to build up. And that is quite loud as usual, but it's going. So let's search the factory while that research is happening for other things that we can upgrade with our productivity modules. Well, I'm almost certain we can do it with our electric crushers for coal. And that's another example of, you want to be careful about doing that, because if you're burning that coke, that's going to be a net loss of power, but we're not actually burning this coke for anything. It's a fuel that goes into making stuff. So we absolutely could upgrade this. And it won't actually change the balance of anything, because those aren't the highest tier of crushers. So we can just upgrade those. Same thing with our setup here that's making concrete. Every one of these buildings is the mid-tier building, which means we should be able to upgrade all of them, put productivities in all of them, and nothing about the balance will change. So upgrade those, and do we have the mixer in here? We do. So we're making more and more trees, but it does kind of take a while for this whole system to get it full blast, but it's holding the carbon dioxide back, and that's what we want to see. We don't want to see being out of hydrogen, though. I'm guessing that's platinum that we're out of. Yeah, seems like it. That we're just not using any gold. Plus, a lot of that platinum is actually going into making other things. How's pollution doing? Oh, it's not terrible. We kind of don't care about it now that those trees aren't there getting trashed. Anything else that could potentially take productivities that hasn't gotten it yet? We'll just have to play it by ear. Well, alright, well, why aren't we making red circuits? Just no plastic? That's probably because that lack of platinum as well. That is an interesting thing to just not be making. Because doesn't gold go into our science? Well, stuff has definitely gotten slow. For now, we'll just put a chest here. Pull out all of the gold. And let's see if that will create enough of a buffer. In the meantime, we've got our max tier mining drill. So now we can take a look at it. It has 2 units wider mining area and a higher mining speed. And it looks like an equivalent amount of pollution. However, it looks like it does use a little bit less electricity for the amount of mining that it does. But the last big question, and yeah, let's clear these out yet again, is does it have any extra module slots? Doesn't look like it. Just 2 slots. So it's just kind of a slightly bigger drill. Seems like that airship just might not be fast enough. Well, we can always do helium airships. It looks like it must run on batteries, as opposed to the other one, which must run on fuel. But nonetheless, we'll grab it. It has double the storage size, and it travels a little faster. So instead of sending 2 airships on this route, how about we just upgrade the airship first to the faster version and see how that works. We'll use an advanced assembler, and we can plop it anywhere. Let's do just that. That alone should be pretty good. And all of the items are available, so they will eventually get here. There we go. Our helium airship. And it's got more engines on it. And it's going to need a battery. We've got some. So this is going to have to get charged up on our hydrogen fuel cell charger, which is right here. It's going to get, man, a ton of batteries, like way too many. But oh well. It's got the batteries now. Let's tell it to go there. We'll get in. And the color is set, and now it's going to where it needs to go. So its speed is about 31. Whereas these other airships do about 29, so it's the slightest bit faster. I mean, it feels faster, but it's basically the same speed as everything else. However, having a much bigger trunk will be very nice. And it is battery powered, which is also nice. It's actually a pretty long route, so it kind of makes sense why we needed to have so many airships. But there it is. It picked up its 40 because now we have all of this gold in the system that we have to get through. Okay then, now that we have that, we can collect all these airships and stop running them. I wonder if we can actually recycle them. I guess we can scrap it, so I suppose that'll make it so it doesn't explode. But should we shoot one to see how violently they explode? What's the worst that could happen? So there we go. That should complete the routes. Let's pick these airships up. Clear all the resources out of each of these. And see if we can shoot it. How violent is violent? Well, that doesn't work. We have rockets, though. No, don't fix it. It's actually kind of resistant to damage. Can we flamethrower it? Kinda. Let's turn off the roboport. It's gonna take a while. I'm kind of trying to leave it next to stuff to see how violent this explosion is. No, don't fix it. Don't fix it. It can't be nuclear explosion large. Could it? The robots are getting very upset. It will eventually go out, right? There we go. Well, that's cool. You got the crashed airship graphic. Well, I'm glad we did that. Took a little effort, though. We should be able to just crush. We definitely don't need our power armor. Make sure nothing's in there. But we should be able to just crush these airships, right? Excellent. So they won't explode inside of this, right? Good. It's kind of what you would expect, but good. As far as pollution, compared to the pre-nuclear days, it's actually quite low. Pretty much all of it is gas furnaces and blast furnaces. So it's plastic from ethanol. We have 22. This is currently what it would require. 1.44 megawatts and produce almost no pollution. And that's about to change. It's going to be a lot more. Way less platinum use. And clearly that is an issue right now. So chemical plant, productivities, and here we go. Hopefully it's not crazy. So all of those, and also it does go into making the hydrogen, so that's going to need to be upgraded. But it also goes into making fertilizer, so we're actually using a lot of platinum for random things. So that kind of explains why we never have any of it. It's because it's just going into everything. However, we do have our Power Armor Mark II, and we researched all the bits that go into it. Let's make a fission reactor and test and see if it uses power all of the time or only when you need it. Let's get rid of the battery discharge equipments. Probably get rid of these accumulators too, just so we have completely empty charge. So in goes the reactor, assuming it would fit. Let's just move that over so it does. And it needs its uranium fuel cells. So let's grab a 1 for now. The fuel manager should automatically place it in there. It does. It's making power very quickly. And that number is so tiny, it's barely even worth calculating, but we also need to process it, and it's still a tiny number, so it kind of shows you that even if it is using power constantly, which honestly I don't know if it is, because it's been a few seconds and that bar has barely gone down, almost like it's going down as we use it. Let's put it in the top corner. Of course, running fast is nice. Having lots of roboports is nice too. We don't even really need these solar panels anymore. The great thing about the 10x10 grid is everything kind of just makes sense and fits in the right places. So we need some fuel cells, a stack of 50 of them. It's probably way too many, but sure. Which means we're not going to need the batteries anymore. Let's see how many of these exoskeletons we want. Is 6 going to be way too many? Considering we actually do walk everywhere, having a bunch of these in here might be kind of nice. That's pretty fast. As long as it's not too fast to where we could barely click on things. I feel like that's too many. How about let's do 5 of them. And we can do 5 roboports too. The construction area is a little bigger, but the big difference is that it's 25 robots now. Let's put 6 of them in our inventory. That'll give us 150 robots, which is far too many, but why not? It's not like we fight biters very much, so we don't really need to worry about shields right now. Of course, we can get them later, but you're essentially completely invulnerable to them. We can put the belt immunity in the corner. We do have a little bit of extra space for these solar panels. And we're going to need to have 6 accumulators. The big ones hold 5 times as much power. Oh cool, all that research is done. We'll let it catch up. This is strictly a non-combat armor build here. And actually, this fission reactor is a little weak considering all the things we have in here, but overall the 1 should be fine, I think. We don't need any more power than that. Alright, we're going to need a ton of robots. 150 of them. I think we are going to get them delivered. So we can get rid of the solar panels, discharge, the old batteries, the old roboports. Yeah, let's keep that extra exoskeleton in case we want it. So there we go. Charging up. And we did get our robots. So let's find some trees somewhere that is not in range of the network and a little far away. Let's do it right here. See how fast the robots work. Pretty fast. I will take it. We'll do a combat test later when that becomes relevant. Well, we did all of that research and now we have 30% mining productivity. So that sounds good, and we should probably check the pollution here. That definitely the chemical plants, just with those few that we put the modules in, they jumped up to be substantial in pollution. But at the same time, we kind of don't care. As long as it's not hurting the trees over here, we don't really care about pollution anymore. We'll see how that works for a while. Are we actually doing better on the platinum? Kind of. And it has actually made it down here, so I would say we are catching up. It's so many tree farms. That is probably excessive. I don't think we need anywhere close to that amount of oxygen. But I just hate wasting stuff. Even if it's carbon dioxide, I don't want to waste it. So what else do we want to research here? Well, certainly the rocket silo would be nice, but I feel like we should save building rockets until we're essentially done with everything else. We are going to need to expand our wall soon, so we should probably make sure we have the best military technology here. Well, there's the photonic cannon. Warning, explosive damage. But that's just a explosive laser. So it'll be nice if our next wall section has no ammo in it at all. It's just all electrically powered. And it also unlocks the chromed turret frame, which we can make as required. And then we can upgrade all these. And wow, each upgrade increases the damage by 50%. That is substantial. And military 4, that does let us make depleted uranium magazines, which is made from chrome magazines, and then you just add uranium to it. And it's quite powerful, but it also is a huge sink of uranium, and I'm guessing if we crush the uranium magazines, we won't get the uranium back. It's probably fine to make some for our inventory, but just having lasers on the walls is better. Even if each individual laser isn't quite as powerful, just not having to move ammo up there is probably worthwhile. However, making the uranium explosive shells for our tank is probably a good idea. And cluster grenades, but we haven't really used those. And then so many upgrades here. Well, there is the personal laser defense. We would probably put some of those on our character when we switch it around for fighting biters. And sure, let's do the destroyer robot. And it attacks with plasma discharge. So there we go. Tons of research and getting closer to the end. Seems like that hasn't actually picked up any fuel cells. Could probably run a very long time without doing so. But nonetheless, we need to make sure that it's actually doing it. Oh yeah, we didn't actually change its route. That would immediately explain it. Where that is sending it to fuel. And it is yellow, which is kind of an issue. So I think we're going to need to change this color. But we'll send it to charge. And that's actually kind of annoying because we're going to have to change a lot of stations to make that happen. We'll make this platinum red. And then it'll go to charge. And if it's red, it'll go to oil processing unload 2. That one will be red. And then it sends it to platinum load, which is red. And that should do everything correctly. So, does it switch? Yep.
That should fix it with the least amount of clicking. So it goes in, pick up tons of batteries, and there we go. So technically we'd want to put the used ones back over there. So let's put a filter inserter in here, set to only get the empty hydrogen fuel cells, which puts them in there, and that should be correct. And pollution is getting worse, but yeah, those chemical plants aren't horrible. It does produce an enormous amount of pollution, but it seems like that has basically fixed the platinum problem, because it is now building up. Gold is getting very low, but it is what it is. We have run out of rubber, which means that something is probably requesting it, so we need to start making some, and I believe that is yet another platinum using item. Oh no, this time it's nickel, so that's nice. These really don't use that much platinum. They were using about 330 a minute, and well, I suppose that is a reasonable amount. We certainly can make more than that, but we would have to be burning through gold as fast as we can make it in order for that to happen. Of course, one way we could improve production by a substantial amount is by using the arc furnace. We would have to change how we make things, but that would create 3 times as many ingots as the pure material, and currently we're only getting 2 times as many. So if we improved that production, then we might be able to take these productivity modules out. So we should probably do some arc furnace stuff here. We'll throw it on the list. Meanwhile, we need to make some rubber. 2 liquid inputs and 1 solid. So let's hook everything up. And making the artificial rubber. Let's do a chest for them. Fill it up to like 500. And the fact that robots came by and grabbed stuff means that we did need it. We do also kind of need to handle the rubber wood. So to do that, let's put a crusher in here, throwing the rubber onto that belt, which will give it priority. And we'll throw the chips on a passive provider chest. There's not much of it flying around, but there's some. And we can put the productivities in there, so we might as well. That will get it taken care of. Let's see here. Well, we definitely don't need the regular electric mixers anymore, so those will get crushed away. And we have these fish. I suppose we can just eat them to make them go away.
And that's the end of this episode. On the next one, we are going to expand the factory and fight some biters, which will test our new military technologies in order to gather some gold. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.